Welcome to episode 34 of the We Are Auto Show. How's it going, Derek?
It is going great, buddy. I just got back from a day on vacation at work.
A day on vacation at work.
All right. So I took a day off from work, but I met up with a couple work people on my vacation day. And we were doing drinks out on the island. The island is Siesta Key, so Anna Maria Island. And we were downtown Siesta Key, and that happens to be like a beach spot where you'll see a lot of people hanging out, and there were some interesting vehicles down there.
I can imagine. Siesta Key is home to all the tourists. If you went to either Siesta or Anna Maria, that's the tourist spots. So I'm sure you got a lot of interesting things.
There was a variety, to say the least. Rolled up, got there initially. Rolling past me goes a Ferrari California in red, top down. Both the wife, her hair's coming out. You know, the dude's just sitting there driving around. Perfect. Great.
Yep.
Walking up to the restaurant, there is a Lotus. I can't remember what kind of Lotus it was. It was the sports car, but they make a lot of sports car. I don't remember.
The Evora, probably?
I think it was an Evora. It was orange. It was nice. It was a good spot. And then some interesting things happened. We got to our little dinner spot. We were sitting outside, and the boys and the Harleys roll up, and they're absolutely blasting their music on their choppers. And for some reason, they want to drive past 7-8 times to make sure that they're very well known.
Of course.
Yes. So that happened. And then they got, once we were done, we were going over to dessert, and up comes a pickup truck with like a plank of wood on the front that's spray painted white, and in red it had the letters hybrid spray painted on it as well. And it had a big X through hybrid.
Yes, I want to buy that man a drink.
And all I could think of was you.
I want to buy that man a drink. Yes, whoever you are with the white pickup with the wooden sign on the front. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Variety of very entertaining vehicles were spotted out at just one evening. That's all it took.
You know, we do have some pretty entertaining stuff out here in Florida, the general Sarasota area. That's for sure.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, that sounds like a fun evening. For sure.
It was. So, is there any news that we should chat about?
Yes, let's get to the news. So, now, don't hate me because I'm already starting with Porsche. So,
that didn't
I apologize. Yeah, I apologize for everyone right now. But there is actually some real Porsche news, not just news that another paint to sample color is being optioned. Wow. But there's a real news coming out of Porsche that they have announced officially that they are doing a Cayman RS. So a 718 Cayman GT4RS. So that is something that Porsche people have been so excited for and have been wanting forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever. It is so cool. It is essentially almost like a GT4 club sport that you would see racing in like the Michelin Pilot Channel, like GT4 classes. But it's been officially announced. This has been eagerly anticipated by all Porsche people since pretty much Caymans were a thing. Everyone's been dying for an RS version. Give me like a track spec version. Give me an RS. And finally, Porsche has listened, which is something I do like about Porsche, is they do actually listen to their sports car people. I mean, they have sports car together day. Like, that's kind of a thing they do. So, initially looking at the pics, what are your thoughts, Derek? I'll give you some more specs here in a minute. But what are your thoughts before even getting into the specs?
The pictures that I'm looking at are black on black, so it looks race car-esque to me. I am sure that this is going to be a very pure driving experience, considering it's basically a race car. And it's probably going to be quick, but not like deadly quick.
So you say that, but this car is stupid fast around the ring.
Oh boy.
And I mean stupid fast. So it's a Cayman. So this is mid-engined, not rear-engined. So not a 911, it's a Cayman, mid-engined. It's going to come PDK only, so it's not going to be available in a manual because all RS Porsches nowadays are only PDK because they're made for blitzing lap times. That's the whole point of an RS Porsche. This Porsche, actually, they stuck Jorg Bergmeister in it, and he's a Porsche driver, and they stuck him in it, and they threw him out onto the ring and said, "Give it hell at the green hell." And boy, oh boy, did he ever. Holy crap, this thing's quick, because it actually lapped the shorter circuit with the 20.6 kilometer. I don't know if that's the full Nordschleife or just the Nürburgring.
I believe that's the full Nordschleife.
Well, whatever it is, it lapped that 23.6 seconds faster than the current GT4.
Oh, boy. Okay, that's a big difference.
Yeah, holy shit, that's a big difference. That's not just like, oh, it came around an extra 4 or 5 seconds. 23.6 seconds. That is, in car speak, that's an eternity.
Okay. So then
and the current GT4 is already a very potent car. The current GT4 has like 400 and some odd horsepower, 414 horsepower, something like that. So this is going to be eagerly anticipated of being much more than that. This is just mind-blowing how good this car is going to be. And this is what everyone's expected. Everyone that's a kind of a Porsche guy has expected a Cayman RS, a 718 GT4 RS, to be just mega. And lapping the ring 23.6 seconds faster than the current GT4. It's going to use the same 4-liter naturally aspirated flat 6 as the current GT4, so it's not like it's getting some V12 monstrosity. That is just unbelievable.
I do like this car a lot, but like, is it not getting to the point where it's starting to compete with the 911? It seems like it's just edging closer and closer and closer there.
What it's doing is it's going to be, you're going to have, it's already going to be pretty much faster than the current base 911. Yep, your 911 Carreras, it's going to blitz that for sure. But it's going to be the choice of, do you want, when the 992 GT3 RS comes out, which is still a little bit out, when the 992 GT3 RS comes out, you'll either choose, do I want a GT3 RS with a 911, or do I want a GT4 RS with the Cayman? Now, that then goes another decision. Do I want mid-engined or do I want rear-engined? If I want rear-engined, I'm going to get the 911. If I want mid-engined, I'm going to get the Cayman. Now, I'm betting you the GT3 RS, which is going to be kind of the thing that it cannot beat, is going to be stupid fast. Like, absolutely mind-blowingly fast is my guess.
Yeah, I'm sure it will be. I know that Porsche does their black magic with their 911s because, in theory, the engine hanging out the back shouldn't handle the way it does, but they've always done that. So right. I guess from an outsider looking in, my perspective would be this is like, it's going to be less money. It will be not as fast as a 911 around the ring, like the racing version of this 911 around the ring, but it would be a purist car to drive because it is mid-engine, and it looks like it's going to grip and drive great.
Yeah, and so it's just it's bonkers. It's got a big swan neck wing. It's just I'll give you a quote from Mr. GT himself. So essentially the boss of all GT cars at Porsche. His name's Andreas Andy Preniger. Here's a quote from Andy Preniger. So we gave the 718 Cayman GT4 RS everything that characterizes a genuine RS. Lightweight construction, more downforce, more power, and of course, an even higher level of responsiveness and feedback to driver inputs. So that just tells you it is essentially like, it is the race car, the 718 GT4 Club Sport, with number plates.
Yep. They're doing exactly what everyone wanted them to do. They're ratcheting that car up just a notch. Not too much, but just a notch, and giving kind of the racing enthusiast community what they want.
Yeah, I'm stoked to see this car, and yeah, I'm excited. I'm just really, really excited because this had been like, there were some teasers dropped from some of the Porsche people over the past week that there was going to be a big announcement about a Cayman coming this week, and there was like 50% saying it's going to be a GT4 RS, and then 50% are like, they're doing the 718 EV line, and I'm like, oh God, no, please don't make that the announcement. And when the announcement came that it was the GT4RS, like everyone's heads were just exploding and just happiness and joy of, oh my God, it's finally happening. Yes.
Yeah, I think you would have been not stoked had this gone the EV way.
Very not stoked. Correct. That is, it will eventually, but
Right.
please not yet. Please, dear God, not yet.
This would be a decent send-off if this is the route they go. But I have a feeling they at least have one more iteration of this car as an internal combustion engine.
We'll find out. We'll find out. Either way, let's get away from the Cayman GT4RS because I've got some more news I want to chat about.
Okay.
We're going from something that is very fast to something that is kind of fast, and it's going to make a lot of noise.
That sounds like it's up my alley.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? So it is not a BRZ, but it is a Honda. So the 2022 Honda Civic Si
Okay.
has been all released, and they've got all the numbers and stuff that's come out for it. So let's chat about that for a second.
Okay. A Honda Civic Si should be very daily drivable, but
Yes.
fun to put the foot down and feel
Yes.
the VTEC kind of do its thingamajig. And that's about it.
Correct. So personally, I kind of like a Honda Civic Si more, a current Honda Civic Si more than I like the current Type R. So the Type R, they try to make it too performance oriented, and it just makes, I don't know, it doesn't do it for me. The Civic Si, on the other hand, that to me is a bit more of a sweet spot because it's not trying to be a Type R. It's not trying to be a sports car. It's trying to be a fun, zippy little daily that makes a racket of a noise, and it's just a little bit quick, so when you go into the on-ramp corkscrew thing as you're going up onto the highway, you can plop it into third and rev the nuts off of it. It's not supposed to be a track day monster like what they were trying to get the Type R to be.
It's very, well, it's similar to your Porsche you just talked about, where they ratchet it up a little bit. Not too much, but a little bit.
See, I disagree because I think they ratcheted the Porsche up a lot. And I think the Civic Si is just the perfect amount of ratcheting for being a daily driver.
Yes, I agree with that. I think that they ratcheted the Porsche up a lot to be a track car because the base of the Cayman that it starts out with is like tenfold compared to the base of the Civic. Okay? It doesn't take much ratcheting to make the Civic significantly faster than what it is. The base model of it is significantly slow.
This is true. This is true. So let me give you a little bit more information on this new Civic Si. It is front-wheel drive only, which I am happy about.
Yes.
It's a Civic Si. It's not supposed to be a rally car.
No.
This should be front-wheel drive. So happy that this is a front-wheel drive little car. Here's where I'm not so happy. It's four-door only. Sedans only. No coupe.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't like that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Huh, that means it's going to be heavy. It gives practicality for it, which I understand. And
It does.
Okay.
See? You see? It makes you kind of scratch your head and go,
I like practicality,
sure.
but if you're going to get there is a level up from here, though.
Agreed, yes.
So maybe they're saving for that.
But the level up is going to be four-door as well. The current Civic Type R is four doors. They're only going to make them in sedans. I wish they would have kept this two-door.
Yeah.
To me, currently, the current 2020 or 2021, whatever the current Civic Si is, it comes in a two-door.
Right.
And manual, and I love it to death. There was a kid that lived in my community. He moved, but he had a very tastefully modified Civic Si two-door that, honestly, I could have even seen myself driving it. It looked like a great little daily. It sounded great. It looked great. It was just very tastefully modified, and this is going to make me miss seeing two-door Civic Si's.
I agree with you here. This does pull at my heartstrings. I had a two-door Civic that was a 5-speed, and Loved that car. It was a blast to drive. And you can tastefully mod a Civic. You can very easily ruin a Civic, but you can tastefully mod a Civic.
Correct. Yeah. Now, let me give you some good news, though.
Okay.
It is manual only.
What?
Yeah, brother. Here we go. Get some.
Wait. It's 4-door only and manual only.
Yes. So the good news is that it's manual only. The bad news is that it's 4-door.
But those contradict each other.
They do. You're right. They do. So in my opinion, this is like a front-wheel drive version of the Integra that's coming.
Okay. I kind of like that take. Huh.
So, makes you think, doesn't it? So that's the Civic Si. A little bit more information on that manual. It's going to come with that automatic rev matching downshifts.
Okay.
So you drove your buddy's, was it the Veloster N?
Yes.
That has that where it'll blip the throttle for you in the downshift. So it's kind of heel towing for you, essentially.
Yeah.
Now in the article that we're looking at, they have a quote that is, no one wants to drop a bad, possibly expensive shift, but we learn by doing, not having the computer do it for us. So I want to pose you the question. Is it a good thing or a bad thing to have the automatic rev matching downshifts?
Why do you do this to me?
I know. I'm so sorry.
There is almost nothing more satisfying when you're driving a manual than pitching it into a corner, nailing a couple heel toes, and just powering out, hitting the apex and powering out. I can tell you it's not nearly as satisfying downshifting without heel toeing and letting the computer do the work. It sounds wonderful. But it doesn't give you that emotional response the same way. Is it a bad thing? No, because I get where they're coming from. There are probably people who have blown their stuff up because they don't know how to heel toe and they're just pitching down gears or ruining the clutch or whatever they're doing. It can be disabled, so the purists out there can do it. I just wish that it was, maybe they put it behind like a hard to disable kind of situation. Maybe, I don't know, like educational material around how to heel toe. I don't know. You're losing out on an art.
And that's my reasoning why I ask you the question is the automatic downshift rev matching. Good or bad? There's a case to be made on both sides.
Yeah, both.
It's a double-edged sword. Is it good or bad? Yes, frankly, is the answer. Because it's good because then you don't have a lot of people just grenading their gearboxes or their entire engine because maybe they rev match too hard and I don't know, or they slip it from 5th to 2nd.
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah. But
right?
You can learn how to rev match without blowing up your transmission.
Correct. We all did.
Yeah. It seems like a bit of a cop-out to me.
Correct. It is a cop-out. That's for sure. It's exactly what it is.
I think I'd rather have it not there. I think I'd rather have knowing someone nailed the heel toe with doing it on their own is way better in the mind than seeing somebody take a Civic into a corner, hear the perfect heel toe, but half double think in my head, did they really do that? Or did the computer just do that?
Correct. So, yeah, that's my little bit of a discussion on the auto heel towing. A little bit more information on the Civic Si. It's going to have the same 1.5-liter turbo 4-cylinder that's in the current Civic Si.
Okay.
And it's going to be a whopping 200 horsepower with 192 pound-feet of torques.
All right. That sounds like the perfect horsepower because that's exactly what my car has.
Except this car's probably slower than yours because yours is lighter, I'm sure.
Yeah, but you'd be surprised.
Actually, I wouldn't be surprised. Having driven your car, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
Now, A little bit more on this Civic Si. Apparently they're giving it a lighter mass flywheel, all in hopes to help it kind of rev a little quicker and get a little bit more pizzazz in its revving and all that. It's also got beefier suspension than the current Civic Si, so it's going to be able to corner a little better in theory.
Okay.
And I really like the look of the interior.
I am also a fan of the interior. It's got the little bit of spice that it needs, but it's not too aggressive.
Exactly. Exactly. It's not like bold, look at me, I'm a Civic Si, but there's enough to know that you're not driving a regular Civic.
Exactly. And I think that's a perfect match for that car.
Exactly. You don't want to have literally everything screaming at you, but you want to know, yeah, I didn't get a base model. Ooh, yeah.
There are some red
in my
trim.
not base model.
Yeah, there's some red trim on the steering wheel. There's some red paneling. There's a decent amount of red on the door and the seats, which I do like a lot. And it looks like you're going to have good heel-toe pedal spacing from the images that I can see as well.
Yep. Agreed. Now, you know how I love my colors of cars, right?
Oh,
you give me
boy.
crap for it all the time. So it is available in, are you ready for this?
Okay.
Blazing Orange Pearl. Yeah, baby.
Blazing Orange Pearl.
Yes, sir. And that's what we're talking about.
All right, make sure you remember that. So when I ask you at some car show, you'll know.
It'll go by and I'll be like, guys, Blazing Orange Pearl Civic Si.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there you go. Now, here's where I want your real opinion. You've got all the facts, and now let me give you the figure. It's estimated to start at $27,000. Good buy, bad buy. What do you think?
$27,000, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I don't think it's a terrible buy, but I don't think it's a fantastic deal. I think it's an okay buy.
Yep. I think it's not the best, not the worst. I think it's okay.
I think if they would have put it at like 35, it's overpriced. I think
Oh, it's way too overpriced at 35.
25, it's cheap. It's dirt cheap. But 27,
That's cheaper than the current, though.
Okay, so 27's a good mark, in my opinion, for this car.
I agree. I wish at $27,000 it had closer to 215 horsepower, though. Maybe 220.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see a little bit more horsepower. I
Not
haven't
a lot,
seen-
but
do you know what the
little.
weight is?
I haven't seen any weight figures.
Okay, that's the
Haven't
only
seen
thing I'm worried about because it's a 4-door now.
them. Correct. And doors have weight.
They do add weight.
They have a lot of weight, actually. Yes. So, that's the 2022 Civic Si.
It
Now,
looks like a fun little sporty car.
I agree. It looks fun. It looks sporty. It looks like something that might be worth a drive at some point.
Yes.
Now, I've got something else that is very different than the Civic Si that I want to chat about for a second.
You're just all over the place. We go from a Porsche
Yeah, dude,
to a little daily driver. Where are we going next?
we are going to pick 'em up trucks.
Oh, brother.
Yeah, brother, here we go. So, let's talk about trucks for a second.
Okay.
Ford has got the 2021 Ford F150, but they're doing almost like a baby Raptor, like a Raptor without teeth or a Raptor without claws. It's called the F150 Tremor. So it's kind of Raptor-ish, but it's not quite a Raptor. It's off-road, but it's not quite like let's go scream through the desert at 120 miles an hour and hitting all the whoops and like with your crazy long travel suspension and stuff like that.
Okay.
So it's an off-road version of the F-150 that isn't quite a Raptor.
Does that imply that the current F-150 is not off-road capable? The base?
Yeah, I would say that does make it sound like the current F-150, the base F-150 is pretty much just a work truck.
Okay. I'm listening. This is...
Now, it's going to stay with me. All right, so it's coming with a lot more like trail-ready tech than the normal F-150, but not quite as much like off-roady stuff as the Raptor. So it's got something called trail control, which is kind of like a very low-speed cruise control, and I'm going to quote here. It allows for even power delivery while heading up an incline or through a rutted pass for example. So it's got this trail. It's like I don't know. It's this weird like crawl control sort of a thing that's low speed for going up stuff. Then it's also got, another quote here is trail turn assist, which is supposed to provide more maneuverability in tight cornering scenarios by braking an inside wheel, giving the truck a tighter turning radius. So you're going around a turn, maybe you're making a left, it's going to brake that rear left tire to kind of let it spin a little quicker.
Yep, you can pivot it on that braking point.
Yeah. Now there's one more trail tech thing that it's talking about. It's got something called the Trail One Drive pedal. Wow. Say that 5 times fast.
What the?
The Trail One Drive pedal. Wow. Okay, great. So the Trail One Drive pedal. This is weird. I don't like this. It is supposed to make it so that you don't have to brake to slow the car down, kind of like an EV.
Really?
So you know how you have that like regenerative braking in an EV?
Yep.
Right? Now, it's supposed to be kind of like that. So like to move forward, you actually have to press the gas. Like if you just lift off the brakes, you're not going to start creeping forwards. You actually have to press the gas. So what that's also saying is if you lift off the brakes, it's going to start to use friction in the brakes to brake. It's freaking weird.
Why would they
Now,
implement that? I don't off-road
agreed.
much.
I think it's stupid.
But like, is there a problem that you have to hit another pedal? It seems fine.
I think that's probably a little weird. Now, I'm going to steal a quote here. So there's a quote from the article. The system is difficult to modulate without practice. And here's the part that really makes me laugh. And abruptly taking your foot off the accelerator pedal at low speeds can actually lock the brakes.
What?
So you're not paying attention. You're going down the trail. And you think, oh, shoot, I forgot something. So you quickly lift off the gas. And then all of a sudden, you're pretty much into full ABS from like 15 miles an hour.
What the heck?
Who thought that was a good idea? Ford, what are you doing?
They must have had a reason to design this, but that seems very odd to me. Like, oh, there's a big rock ahead that I don't want to hit. I take my foot off the pedal and it just locks him up? What?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's weird. Why would they think there's got to be some sort of reason other than maybe just a thought experiment?
This is not a manual truck, right? This is an automatic.
This is only offered in a 10-speed automatic.
Okay. If it's not a manual, it's not particularly difficult to learn how to left foot brake. And even in a manual, you
Correct.
can left foot brake, but you got to use the clutch, so it's a little more difficult. It doesn't seem out of the realm of possibilities for them to just ditch this whole idea and tell someone, hey, if you want to go trailblazing and you want to go forward or hit the brakes, you can do both of them. You have 2 feet and you have 2 pedals. They can be used simultaneously. That's an option.
No, because, Derek, don't you know that just takes a screenshot, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that is kind of one of the things that I'm just scratching my head thinking, well, Ford, why did you do that? That's just kind of dumb.
Yeah, that's a head scratcher.
Yeah, it's weird. So a little bit more about the truck. It's only offered in the Super Crew cab, which is a 4-door cab. So that's just what they call their 4-door cab, with a 5.5-foot bed. So it's got enough bed space. It's just like a regular truck, right?
Yep.
And here's where I'm not a big fan. It's only offered with their 3.5-liter V6 twin-turbo EcoBoost thing, which the good news is that it gives you 400 horsepower.
Okay.
Now, hear me out, okay? Because part of the reason why people don't buy the Raptor itself is because it's only got that V6 EcoBoost.
Yes.
So that's why what a lot of people do is they take a regular old F-150 and they do a lot of suspension modifications to make it off-road capable because you can get the regular F-150 with a V8.
Okay.
If they would have thrown the V8 in this, that would have been a freaking home run because then you've got an off-road capable truck that has a V8, whereas the Raptor is not. The Raptor is performance-oriented. The Raptor is literally just like a race truck, right? If they would have done this with the V8, this would have been out of the park.
But it would have put them in a really weird spot where they have a V8 lower tier truck that is like debatably better than their top tier model.
But it wouldn't be better because it wouldn't produce as much power. It wouldn't be as quick. It wouldn't be as off-road capable. But for the people that want off-roady stuff that aren't particularly running through the desert at 120, if you could get a V8 F-150 Tremor with all the off-road suspension and all that, hell yes. Sign me up. Hell yeah. That's awesome.
I see your point of view, but I don't think that corporate sees your point of view.
Well, corporate can suck it.
Sadly, they're the ones making those design decisions.
Yeah, agreed. Now, here's where it's going to get a little bit different, all right? And it's going to make you really start to scratch your head even more. Because the base price of this F-150 Tremor is about 51 grand. When you get it with all the extra high trim and all the extra stuff that goes with it, you're up to about 65 grand. Now, here's the issue. Here's the real issue. A base Raptor is like $1,200 more expensive than the high trim Tremor.
Only $1,200?
Yeah, it's not like it's like 10 grand more.
Oh.
So here's where I'm like, what the hell are we doing, Ford? Because one, you should have put a V8 in it. That you'd sell by the bazillions. Two, why are you making an off-road capable truck that by the time you spec it out and you get all the trail tech that you want, you're at 65 grand, which is, I mean, you're getting a Raptor for 66, 67.
If they put a V8 in it, their Raptor sales would have tanked, dude.
Maybe, yeah, but there's a lot of Raptor diehards. Well, exactly. The Raptor would have to go up and this would have to go down.
There's a lot of Raptor diehards, but there's a lot more like I want a practical F-150 diehards out there that would be like, oh, this is almost a Raptor. I'll just buy that instead.
You're right. But either way, it's 65 grand by the time you've got all the spec in it. And that's almost the price of a Raptor anyway. So why not just get a freaking Raptor?
Yeah, that's way too... You're cutting it way too close on the price margins there.
Yeah, I'm not... I like what they are trying to do, but it's just...
They kind of backed themselves into a corner with this one. And I don't...
Yeah, they did.
It doesn't feel like they have a way to get out. An easy way to get out.
Exactly. Exactly. Now, I wonder if they're doing this because I've heard talks that they're doing a Ford Raptor R down the road, which is going to be a V8 Raptor.
Oh.
So they will... From what I've heard is they are going to put a V8 back in a Raptor, which, hallelujah, praise dear God, yes. That's what we've been dreaming of since they took the V8 out of the Raptor. But for now, the Tremor just seems too close to a Raptor, but not Raptor enough to be as close as to a Raptor as it is. I don't know. It's weird.
I don't know. Just let me try out their single foot modulated braking madness because I want to talk about that some more. That is just not what you're supposed to do in an off-road truck.
Yeah, that's weird. No. It's you can left foot brake if you're going around Spa. You're not left foot braking if you're trying to go over a boulder. That's just odd.
Yeah, I don't understand that one.
Yeah. Either way, that's the F-150 Tremor.
Very interesting truck. It feels like Ford's trying to put themselves into a corner that they can't really figure out how to escape from, in my head.
Yeah, I kind of see that. It looks like they're going into a room that's just mirrors everywhere. Like, where's the exit? Where's the exit? I can't find the exit. It's just mirrors.
That's a great way to put it.
That's kind of what Ford's doing. Now, I do have one more thing to talk about. I know I'm kind of droning on here, but stay with me. So, have you ever driven a road called Tail of the Dragon before? Have you ever heard of it?
Ooh, I have heard of it, but I have never driven it.
Okay, so I have driven it, and I will tell you, it is mental. It's crazy. It's amazing. It's awful. It's so beautiful. It's incredible. It's all of the adjectives you could think of all put together. Now, it is a destination hotspot for the enthusiast, the petrol head, as they call us across the pond. A lot of people go on road trips to the Dragon literally to just go and rip the Dragon, to rip around the roads close to the Dragon, because it's just some crazy roads out there. I don't remember the exact amount of turns, but it's like 300 and some odd turns in 11 miles is what the Dragon is. It's
Where is the Dragon located?
So the tail of the Dragon straddles the line. It actually starts in whichever way you want to decide it starts, but either Tennessee to North Carolina or North Carolina to Tennessee. It's right on the border. You actually cross states.
Okay.
And I think you actually cross states a couple of times by the time you wiggle up and down and back and forth and left and right and up and down and back and forth. It's a cool road. It's great. I mean, it's a lot of... On a bike, it would be a hell of a lot more fun than in a car, having driven it, because it's a lot of very tight switchbacky, very tight technical corners. So you never get a chance to really get out of second gear into third, into fourth. It's all kind of second gear-ish corners. You may even get a corner that's a first gear corner because of just how tight they are. On a bike, that's probably a little bit more fun because you can really lean into your corners, get a knee down, all that good fun stuff. On a car, it's still fun. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it's a blast on a car. But on a bike, I think it'd be even better. But there was a horrible faux pas that happened at the Dragon.
A faux pas? Tell me about it.
Yes. There is a brand spanking new Ferrari 488 Pista. So not just a regular 488, but the more performance track, almost track ready, the super 488, the Pista, right?
Mm-hmm.
That crashed on the Dragon. Not only did it crash, it ended up on its roof.
Oof. Big oof.
Yeah, oof size, extra, extra large.
Yeah. Looking at the image of this one, they rolled the Ferrari, and it's gone now.
Luckily, it's a cheap fix, isn't it, Derek?
No.
Nothing about that is cheap. Not new.
No, that
not
car's
even
written off.
Yeah, it's done. It's toast. That is one of the premier Ferraris of today. Not anymore. It's dead.
You do see this a lot in these kind of roads. And I know that you've driven the tail of the Dragon. You've also driven Pikes Peak, correct? Mm-hmm. Have you done the Blue Ridge Parkway? I think that's another one that's in the Carolinas.
A little piece of it. I haven't done the whole thing because it's like miles and miles and miles and miles and miles. I've done pieces of it. I've done a couple little pieces of it.
Of those,
now,
what's the most impressive or scary in your opinion?
So, that's a good question. In my opinion, I don't have the balls to drive Pikes Peak in a spirited manner. I do have the balls to drive Tail of the Dragon and Blue Ridge Parkway in a spirited manner.
Okay.
So, Tail of the Dragon, it's a more of a forest, so you have a lot more like wooded woods, I suppose, next to you on either side, right? So it's not quite as, let me put it this way. It's not like with Tail of the Dragon, you kind of make a 1% error and then you're tumbling down a 4,000-foot cliff, right? Whereas Pikes Peak, if you literally make a 1% wrong move, if this is in a spirited manner, you are literally just tumbling forever and forever and ever and ever. So I would say in terms of frightening levels, Pikes Peak is probably the most beautiful because of the views at 14,000 feet at the top of the mountain. But I wouldn't drive Pikes Peak flat out. There's no way I'd be in a spirited drive up Pikes Peak. I'm just not brave enough for that. Tail of the Dragon, absolutely. Yep, all of it, 100%.
Okay.
Actually, as a matter of fact, I'm going to recommend for people that are going to Tail of the Dragon on a car driving holiday, check out the roads around Tail of the Dragon. If you're in a car, I actually think the roads around Tail of the Dragon are maybe more fun than Tail of the Dragon itself. Now, you do Tail of the Dragon so that you can get your sticker and say you've done it, and you can buy your picture from, like us129photos.com or whatever, the guy that sits on the side of the road with a camera. Because there's a couple guys that literally just sit there with cameras catching people as they go by.
Really?
And you can buy your picture from them. There's a couple, Killboy I think is one of them. There's a couple of them. So you do it so that you can get your picture, you can get the sticker, you get the t-shirt. Yep, you've done it. But really, the roads around, the whole area there, in a car, It's called the Cherhola Highway or Cherhola Skyway. Oh, that's to die for, because that's got a lot more like open third gear, maybe touch fourth gear a little bit, and then you're back down to second, and then you're screaming up the gears again. That on a car is probably a bit more fun than Tail of the Dragon.
Those kinds of spirited drives are always like just pure enjoyment from a car enthusiast perspective if you have a car that can take it.
Yeah. So that's some news coming out of the Tail of the Dragon, watching someone roll their Pista.
Unfortunate, but it definitely happens. And it happens, I think, more often than you think as well.
Yeah, for sure. So you got anything for us, Derek?
I do. I have some racing news to chat about.
What you got?
Coming up here, there really hasn't been too much news as of the last weekend. But there was, coming up here soon, I think it's this upcoming weekend. So I believe it's on the 24th of this month. There's F1 at COTA, or Circuit of the Americas, is where they are. So You're going to have all the F1 guys racing around in Texas, which I always find kind of contradictory because Texas is just full of rednecks with pickup trucks, and they're watching F1, which is pretty much the polar opposite of what they usually enjoy.
Correct. Texas is all about long, straight, flat roads. Pedal down and just go until you can.
There's that, and if you talk to, I would say, racing enthusiasts in Texas, they're probably more apt to talk about NASCAR than they are about F1. But that happens to be where the F1 track is this year, although it is coming to Miami next year.
It is. We are going to have a Miami Grand Prix.
Indeed.
That'll be next. We talked about that a bit, didn't we?
So there was also a little bit of news. NASCAR did their race at the Roval, the oval, the road oval over in Charlotte. And they also stayed afterward to do some testing on their new 2022 race car. And it was
the carbon one?
The carbon one. And it was very interesting. I did watch some of it. They had like a couple hours up on YouTube. And the cars did look much more steady, I will say. They were much more adapt to being on a road course. And they do have suspension modifications, aero modifications. The cars looked and felt to me like they were ready to take on a road course. And I don't really like that, honestly.
And that's what I was going to ask you. Is that a good thing or not?
I don't think so. Because I think that NASCAR has a very well-known, everyone go watch the road course. Because it's going to be chaos. Because these are just boats designed to go around an oval. And when they get to a road course, they just look like fish out of water. And that's what everybody wants to see.
That's the whole point.
That's the whole point.
That's the whole point.
The cars looked good. They were braking steady. They were accelerating steady. There was no twitchiness in the corners. If they missed their braking point, they would just lock up and plow into a wall like you would expect kind of a proper road course race car to do. It wasn't the chaos that I wanted to see. Maybe it was because they were only in a test session. Maybe it's because they haven't found the limit of the cars yet. But like the diffuser in the rear just sticks everything to the ground. The new brakes did well. They were talking about some heat issues with the brakes. They were talking about a couple little bits of heat issues in the interior. So they're working on some fixes to cool the car down overall. But I want to see boats. I want to see boats lose control around a road course.
Yeah, it's almost disappointing that they were good on the road course.
Yeah.
That's not why you watch NASCAR road racing. You watch NASCAR road racing because it is just an absolute utter shit show.
Exactly. And that's exactly how it should be. I mean, they did take the cars probably 20 years from where they were. Like, they were way behind.
You're right. The cars that NASCAR currently uses are literally like no different than like a 90s Corvette, pretty much.
85.
Yeah, with a few more upgrades, and that's kind of it.
It's amazing and terrible at the same time.
Weren't they still using drum brakes at some point still?
Yes, they were. They totally were. They now have they aren't using drums anymore. But I believe that way back in the day, they were definitely using drums.
Yeah, the whole thing is just, I don't know. NASCAR road racing needs to stay with the cars that can't handle road course racing. It should be cars that aren't ready for roads. I don't know. Call me crazy.
I will say that maybe, I didn't see this, but maybe we are going to get very, very close racing with these new cars because the aerodynamics will be way different. Kind of like what F1 is doing right now. They're moving toward that
could be good.
Car that can actually stick to the bumper of another car. But I don't really see NASCAR having a problem with that right now in their road course racing. They're pretty close when they're running together.
Yeah, NASCAR road is already pretty close. They're literally just bumping and grinding. I mean, as the saying goes, rubbing is racing, right? So
and bumping
what NASCAR road racing is now.
Right. Bumping and grinding on composites will be way different than bumping and grinding on metals. So
correct. Bumping and grinding on sheet metal is a whole different ballgame than bumping and grinding on high quality carbon fiber, because then you bump and grind and your all of your aero is destroyed, and then you're got carbon shards all over the track, and then you've got yellow flag for 13 hours, and then everyone's at home sitting there bored out of their mind going, when will it end?
Yeah. We shall see what happens next year.
We shall. So let's move on then, shall we?
Let's do it.
So you and I went to a little event at the Lamborghini dealership this past week. Saw some pretty amazing stuff. And unfortunately, you couldn't make it to a quick little cruise that I had very quickly threw together. It's amazing what, as car enthusiasts, that you can throw together in like 12 or 24 hours or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like, it was honest to God. Like, I think it was maybe that morning when I was just like, you know what, I think I'm going. Let me send out a couple of messages and see if anyone wants to get together and just cruise in together as a group, which is always more fun to go into an event as a group than it is solo, right? You just have that feeling of like, this is my crew.
Right.
Right.
You're there with people who are also interested in the same thing as you.
Yeah. So it was, while the cruise in wasn't as spirited as maybe I had hoped, because there was a lot of traffic. There was just too much traffic for us to really get on it. We did have a pretty good lineup that came out for this little mini cruise to Lambo. We had me in a Volkswagen GLI. We had a Volkswagen GTI. We had an Audi S4. We had a Corvette that was all heavily modified. We had a Porsche Cayman S modified. We had a matte green AMG GTR come out. And then we also had a, like, I don't know, but it's got to be damn near close to 2,000 horsepower GTR with a parachute on the back and on drag slicks come out for a little rip. Oh, and a V8 R8 manual.
That's variety. That's big variety.
It was variety. I will tell you, I was by far and away the slowest car there. Oh my God. We got to the on-ramp, and this was like the only spot where we didn't have any traffic, so everyone started getting on it, and every single one dropped it down a couple of gears and went, oh, and all thousands of horsepower left my like little 210 horsepower GLI just grasping at straws. I mean, I am slanging and banging and trying to keep up. I just hold on to the back of them as best as I can, and I blink, and it was a glorious soundtrack. It sounded fantastic. I mean, just, oh, see ya, and I'm just in the back like, wait for me.
As long as you were giving it your all, that's all they can ask from you.
Oh yeah, but we rolled in together, and it was pretty cool to get all of the cars together and then see all the crazy stuff that was there. So you had a chance to join us there, didn't you, Derek?
I did. I didn't make the drive up. I'll try to make the drive up next time. I was busy with some work stuff. But the event itself was pretty interesting. It reminded me a lot of some car meets from back in the day, the market meets that used to happen. And I think a lot of the same people that used to go to those meets were also there. But this was put on by Lamborghini of Sarasota. And it was actually just open to the public. They would roll cars in. I believe that if you were deemed to be good enough to make the show, they would roll you on into the crowd. There was one dude that was out there pointing people to go certain directions. If you had, like $100,000+ car, you were pointed over toward the high end spot, and if you didn't, you were pointed over toward the normal people, which is okay.
We went to the loser section. We were in the loser lane.
And I had no problem with that whatsoever.
We blended in nicely.
We did. But there was a variety of cars there, all over the place, and it was awesome to see.
Yeah, it was great. We got to chat with a bunch of different people. It was honestly just a great night. Saw a ton of different stuff. We did stay for the end when we were able to watch everyone kind of do their quick little polls out of there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, of those polls, do you have any notables?
There is one notable, and we, I know we had talked about don't do the polls at one point, but when you're in the moment, I mean, listening to a Lamborghini SVJ just rip down the street is pretty amazing.
It ain't bad.
No.
I'll be honest. It ain't bad.
Yeah, the SVJ was by far probably my favorite car.
Yeah, it's up there for sure. I do have a couple of notables from the noises that we heard as people were exiting. So I do have to rag on, and this is a notable for a bad reason. First, I'm going to start with the bad. There is a V6 Dodge Challenger with neon underglow that decided to do a burnout at the actual sidewalk.
Yeah.
Bad look, dude.
So, yeah, he was on the property of Lamborghini Sarasota. He should have pulled out into the road to do any sort of burnout. Probably shouldn't have done a burnout in general, but not a good look.
Especially in a V6 Challenger with underglow.
Yeah, not a good look.
Everything about that was just bad. But some of my notables of the exits, there is a insanely massive, crazy, pro-charged GT350 that left, and it was on drag radials in the back, and it screamed like crazy. That was great. There was let's see, what else was it? There was a couple of Porsches that made great noises. There was some modified GT3s and GT4s that screamed as they went out, all the way up to 9,000 RPM. Now, one of my favorites, though, was a Lexus IS 300.
Yes.
Because it was a 2JZ swap, and it backfired like crazy. So he got on it, and that 2J go woo-to-two, and it actually shot flames and scared it. People jumped. It was hilarious to watch. I mean, the guy got on it, and pop, 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 and people are falling backwards. It was absolutely hilarious to watch. That was one of my favorites just for the entertainment value alone.
Yeah, it basically cleared out the crowd, which was funny and awesome to watch.
Yeah, because you especially don't expect it out of a little Lexus IS 300.
No.
I mean, it's a little four-door sedan, and it was making gunshots.
It
was freaking sweet.
It had some fat rear tires on it, and I had seen that car, and I was expecting something, but I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, it was one of those of if you know sort of things, because if you saw the car, you knew, there's something lurking under the hood that may be a little frightening to some people.
Yeah.
So, with that said, are your car spots of the week going to come from the event?
So mine actually are not. Are yours?
Mine are. Yep, mine are.
Okay, let's hear it.
All right, so my car spots. I did see other things, actually just today I saw a matte white S63 AMG Coupe, which is all great and all, but it's just a boat, and it's not really my style. It's more comfort,
right?
But kind of powerful comfort, just like you could power the moon by it. But some notables. One of my absolute favorite cars that was there that wasn't like a crazy mad supercar was there is this perfect spec E46 BMW M3. It was so perfect. It is my dream BMW.
You were gawking over this car a lot, and
I was.
I'm going to have to ask, where's the appeal here?
Oh, you even got a picture of me gawking at the car.
I do.
So the appeal is the fact that it's all carbon, so it's kind of like an M3 CSL from the day, which was almost like one of the first real kind of lightweight sports cars that came out back in the day. back in the early 2000s. So that was like one of the first things that was like, oh wait, crap, that's a real lightweight. It's got carbon roof, carbon everything. The one of the first things that caught my eye, because I'm a wheel whore, is the wheels. Oh, those wheels, Derek.
Tell me about these wheels. I don't really know much about wheels.
BBS E88s, gold with a polished lip. Oh my God. They are my favorite wheels that have ever been created, ever in the history of the world, ever. They're perfect. If I could get a set for my Volkswagen, I'd put them on right now.
Really?
They're perfect on every car. Every car. Yes.
Okay.
God, I love them so much. God, I love them so much. As soon as I saw them, I was like, oh boy. And then took a closer look. So it also had some very nice lightweight carbon racing seats in it. And then it had, I believe I don't know how to describe, I don't know the exact term for it, but I think a CIE shifter. So essentially almost like a sequential gearbox kind of. So that kind of shifter. And it is just the business. It is just the business. Oh, that car, the E46 M3 always held a little soft spot in my heart. I've always loved the E46 M3. I did actually find the owner of it. We connected on Instagram. Dude, I am in love with your BMW. You are invited to come go for a drive with us anytime because it is stunning, and I wish I got a video of you pulling out.
Okay, so this is like a BMW enthusiast purist car.
Yeah, so I've been hating on BMW a lot. So all current BMWs, I pretty much think are just absolute hot garbage.
Right, we agree.
This is not a current BMW. This is maybe my favorite BMW that has maybe ever been made, and dare I say that because there are some contenders like the E39 M5 or even like an E30 M3 CSL. But the E46 M3 with these modifications is really, really, really good. Oh, it's just really, really good.
I think it's a decent spec. I like the carbon. I don't know if the wheels work for me though. That's to the eye of the beholder.
Oh my God! Did you just say that? Did you just say that? What?
I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of them, but that's just me.
Derek. Okay, fine. I'll let you have an opinion that differs from mine, I suppose. I suppose I'll let that. But then my spot of the week is going to be kind of tied. Now, it's tied between that it was a gray Lamborghini Aventador SVJ that we briefly talked about. I love it.
I do know which one you're talking about.
I love that. It was the one that gave us that great big, beautiful, naturally aspirated V12 pole going by. Mm-hmm. That was funny because that stole the show because we were all watching a Ferrari F8 about to pull out, and then all of a sudden you hear that V12 screaming by as we're all watching the F8, and sure enough, everyone kind of forgets about the F8 and sees this SVJ go screaming by, and it was just the business. It's such a good spec in that gray. Oh, just beautiful.
Yeah, I think that's an amazing spec in that gray with the accents as well. The wheels being the orange calipers, I think is awesome with that color. And then you have the big SVJ decal on the rear, and it looks like a proper Lamborghini. Smells like one. Sounds like one. It's amazing.
Yeah. You know something funny about the Aventador and the Aventador SVJ?
What?
Its transmission is a single clutch automatic, not a double clutch.
Really?
Yeah. So I've never personally driven or ridden in one, but from everything I've heard, it is the most violent shifting car ever. It is supposed to be almost painful if you're full throttle going like third to fourth gear in that thing.
Huh. So it is just slamming from gear to gear.
It is literally just slamming from gear to gear.
I think
which is partly why I love it.
Yeah, that's kind of how that car should be, right?
Yeah, it's that car is literally just supposed to be violent. Everything about that car is supposed to be violent and have guns and lasers and shoot flames and that is the essence of Lamborghini currently, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's not a track car. It's about the experience. It's about just like the raw experience of driving.
Yeah, So that's one of my spots of the week. Now, I can't tell if it's going to be completely tied or if it's going to get edged out just a little bit by this McLaren that we briefly touched on.
Okay.
We may have touched on it. I don't remember. There was a McLaren there that is extraordinarily rare. So this is no ordinary McLaren. This is a custom Novatek N-Largo wide body McLaren 720S.
Okay.
Now, yeah, it is very, very, very rare. You know how very rare that is, Derek?
How rare?
There's only 15 of them in the whole world.
Oh, it's that rare.
It's that rare. Yep. It's one of 15 Novatek N-Largo wide-body McLaren 720Ss. So they take essentially a standard 720S, which is by no means an ugly car and by no means a slow car, and they crank it up to 11. They do a crazy carbon fiber wide-body kit. They do insanely massive wheels and everything, and it's just insane. It is insane. It's the car itself is what, 320, 350 grand?
Yeah.
And then I think the full Novatek kit that we saw with the wheels and all, I think the kit itself is like another $250,000 to $300,000.
Really?
I think so, yeah.
Wow. That's wild.
It is bespoke. It is very bespoke. I didn't know there was even one here locally.
Huh.
And you know that I kind of know of a lot of the cars here in town. I'm very much kind of a nerd with that. If I've seen a car once, then it's forever etched into my brain. And I didn't know we had a Novatek wide body 720S here.
Okay. So you're a huge fan of it.
I'm not going to say it's my favorite looking car.
Really?
It's going to be maybe my spot of the week because of the rarity and the fact that my jaw hit the floor because of just what I'm looking at. Like, oh my God, I can't believe what I'm seeing. Because it's cool, but is it pretty? That's another question altogether. It's a spaceship. It is a spaceship.
Yeah, but do you need that on a McLaren?
No.
It's kind of what I'm getting
That's
at.
the problem. It's just kind of more for more's sake. More for the sake of more. It's not necessarily more for the sake of better. Now, it is technically numbers-wise better than a standard 720 because it's faster and all of the things, but
I think we've talked about Novatek before on the show, right? We talked about a Ferrari that was a Novatek.
Yep, there's a Novatek Ferrari 488 that lives in town, and we had the same discussion of like,
yeah,
is it better or is it just more?
It's definitely more. There's no doubt about that. But is it better?
Oh, it's way more.
I'd bargain no, but that's just my opinion. Clearly, a lot of people do think it is better and they want it, so they're willing to pay for it.
At least 15 of them.
It'll steal the show wherever you're at.
And that's the thing. It's going to probably etch out the SVJ for spot of the week just because of how rare it is. But if it's going in my garage, I think I'd rather have the SVJ, to be honest.
Yeah, I would 100% rather have the SVJ. I don't know. This doesn't really. It's too impractical for my liking. And
I mean, it's cool.
It's cool,
but
I even looked at it and went like, it's okay.
Yeah, like that's kind of the thought is, it is cool. Yes. Is it pretty? I'm not so sure about that.
Yeah, I'm not so sure about that either. I don't know. That's for sure an interesting spot.
Yeah, so that'll be my spot of the week is the Novatek 720S.
Okay.
Simply because it's one of 15 in the entire world, and it's just bonkers.
Yeah.
I've never seen one before, ever. I've seen an SVJ before. I've never seen one of these before, so that's why it's claiming my spot of the week.
Totally reasonable. I'm with you there.
All right, so what have you seen?
So I have seen far different things than you have seen. We're not going to go down the supercar path, though I did see that Ferrari that was driving around, but I don't know, like California's whatever. What I saw was a wagon.
What did you saw? Yes! I love a wagon.
Yeah. I saw an E63
I love a wagon.
AMG.
Yes, sir.
That thing is a
yes,
boat.
sir. Oh, it's big. It's big.
It's really big, but it's classy big.
It is. It is. I agree with that.
And I like the look of the classy big boat. It reminds me of like a refined German or British classy boat. It's not an outlandish crazy thing, because if you look at it from the front, it just looks like a reasonable normal Mercedes. But when you get that side profile, whoo, she's got some buns, hon.
She got a big booty, so I call her Big Booty.
Oh my. And it's bubbly.
How thick? Thick. I mean, it's a wagon, dude. Wagons have big butts. It's what they do.
They do, but it still looks like swoopy and a little sporty. It doesn't look obnoxious.
Correct.
I like the overall shape of the E63 AMG. Great spot. Not quite my car spot of the week, though.
I love the E63 AMG. That would be hard to beat for my spot of the week because I am a sucker for wagons.
Do you happen to know the price on those? I don't off the top of my head.
I mean, if you're getting it new, I think you're 120-ish, I think.
Okay, so they're pricey, which I expected them to be.
Oh,
pricey.
yeah.
It is a Mercedes and it's a wagon. They probably don't make
and it's an
ton.
And it's an AMG.
Right, it is an AMG.
Yeah.
So, would you like to hear my car spot of the week?
Maybe. Depends on what it is.
Then you might not like to hear my car spot of the week.
Derek, don't you dare. Don't you dare.
We're going way away from the big booty buns. We're going more toward the EV land. I saw, on my way out to the beach, an OG Tesla Roadster.
Okay. All right. I will give you that as a spot because that is extraordinarily rare. So I'll give you that.
Those are rare. It was.
I was really hoping you weren't going to say like a Model S or something.
No.
And I was just going to... I was going to end the call right now. But...
No, I wouldn't do that. There's too many of those around, and we see Teslas all the time. But an OG Roadster you do not see very often.
Correct. Never, actually.
No.
I think I've seen them maybe once ever in my life.
Fairly certain you had to be absolutely either dumb money rich to buy one or just out of your mind to buy one.
Yeah.
Because they didn't have good range. They were dumb money for what they were, and you were making bets that this crazy company in California that Elon runs was actually going to work. And at that point, it was not working.
Correct. Yeah, I remember Top Gear tested that Tesla Roadster, and I remember thrashing on the track. It got like 40 miles or something until it died.
Definitely
something
under 100
ridiculous.
Miles. It's not good. So this guy was taking it. It was like kind of like a light blue, almost like a lightning blue. It wasn't Miami blue, the Porsche that we always see around, but it was a little bit darker than that. It was not as dark as like the Tesla Model 3 blue though. So it was right between those two. And I actually liked that look a lot. It had the front hood on that car kind of has like a black cover to it. And it was cool. They were taking it off of the island or where I was with the friends. And we were all drinking. And I think that they probably keep that on the island, is my guess. So they probably do have the dumb money to buy that car. That car is going to
probably doesn't have enough range to get off the island.
It might be pushing it. It might be pushing it. That's like a go get a couple groceries and come back kind of car. Not much further than that. But that car, I think, is going to be worth good money very soon, if it's not already worth good money.
With the Tesla fanboys? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So... if you had bought one of those, I think you would be making very, very good money in the future. And I do wish I had one of those to keep in my garage if I had the money to buy one originally.
Fair. I will allow that as a spot of the week, even though it's an EV.
Fun.
Because it is a rare one.
Funny enough, there's also one of those orbiting between Earth and Mars right now.
Oh, yeah, there is. I remember he sent one up, didn't he?
Elon sent his own personal one, his own cherry red Roadster, up on a SpaceX Falcon Heavy as their demonstration flight.
Damn. Elon is freaking lunatic. And it's just,
so normally
he is a madman.
When they would do those demonstration flights, they would just put a chunk of concrete up there. And Elon was asking, I think it was like a week before the launch or something crazy like that, or maybe a month before. He's just sitting around in his kitchen asking his brother, what should we send up? They want to send concrete, but I don't think concrete's very cool. And his brother opened up the garage and said, send that. He was like, okay, I can send that. So they sent his Roadster, and they put great cameras on it, and you got to see awesome views of a mannequin sitting in a Tesla Roadster orbiting the Earth.
I do like that lunacy.
Yeah.
I respect that.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous, and I do respect that.
And what it was fantastic PR for both companies, if you think about it.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure. Huge.
You think
Huge.
Volkswagen would not want a Porsche orbiting Earth?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
Oh.
That'd be sick.
That is like marketing's dream, man.
That'd be cool as hell.
Yeah.
That would be cool as hell. So, yeah, I got to admit, that's a cool spot. Even though I hate them, that's a cool spot for sure.
Yes, that is a cool spot. So, it's almost time to wrap up. Do you have an I wish they would have?
I do, and this is more of a practical I wish they would have.
I love these.
I know you like these practical ones, yes. So, my wife and I have lately been helping out with our newish, I guess. She's getting older now, but our newer niece. She's very young. And young enough to be in a car seat in the back seat of the car. So I've gotten I wish they would have that comes out of the car seat world.
Oh, okay.
And my wife pointed this out to me. I wish all car seats had a universal base that you could set them in.
Yeah.
Because it is a ginormous pain in the ass if, like, we're bringing our niece from, like, her house to our house, and we have a different car seat in our car, then they have a different car seat in their car, and the car seats don't fit on the bases. So yeah, it is a pain in the ass. So car seats, I wish they would put car seats where you like the bases were universal and you could put all the different car seats on the bases. Like, that's a pretty easy one to fix. That's not like it's just a base. It's not like we're engineering the whole seat. Just the base.
That is one of those stupid easy ones that I don't understand how has not been solved already, or why there's not regulation out there that's what it would have to turn into. It would have to be regulation that specifically says this is the design, here are the CAD files, this is what everybody's going to use, and that way you can all swap it in and out. It's exactly like a charging port on a computer or a USB port situation. Just make them all the same. Somebody standardize it.
Exactly. Because it's like, what car seat do you have? Oh, that won't. No, wait. Which one do you have? No, that's not going to work either. So it's just a giant pain in the ass.
And getting the bases in and out of them, you have to wire them all up through the seatbelt and whatnot, and they're not. It's stupid.
It's so annoying. You've got the little extra latches that you have to put the seatbelt like through the whole thing. I wish they would just do like universal bases for all the different car seats.
Yeah.
All the manufacturers, they can keep their different car seats and all the tech and fancy crap that goes in it. That's fine. But just make them compatible to all go in the same kind of base, so that when you're transporting a baby from one car to another, you don't all have to, like, it. Yeah.
Right.
That would just, it's too logical in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't see, the NTSB should just get a base, test it, make a couple iterations, test it, make sure that it works on the crash tests, and then take that and say, okay, here you go, car seat companies. Here's your base that you're using. We've tested this to be the most safe, and now everybody's good.
Yep, exactly. So that's my I wish they would have.
I love practical ones. I have a practical one for you.
What's your practical one?
I wish we got rid of door handles.
I hate you. Why? Why, Derek? You wish they got rid of door handles? Are you kidding me?
Why do you need a door handle?
So that you can open your door.
You know what door handles
Why
are?
did the chicken why did the chicken cross the road? To get to the other side.
I don't know.
Why do you need a door handle? To open the door.
Okay. Maybe we don't get rid of door handles. Maybe we make door handles aerodynamic. The door handles around most cars right now are not super aerodynamic. Have you ever gotten into a Tesla?
You're right. Yeah, it's just the little thing that like slides in and goes boop.
It's like a latchy, you push it out and it comes out. But have you noticed that the door handles are flush? Mm-hmm. Have you noticed that the Mustang Mach-E doesn't have any door handles?
I did not.
Next time you see one, take a peek. They're missing.
You know, okay. You know what? I'm going to piggyback off that. Do you know what car has a really stupid door handle?
What?
The Ferrari F8.
What is it?
It looks like a complete and utter afterthought. It's so I posted this on social a few weeks back of a picture, and I said, do you know what this is? And then I zoomed all the way out so you could see what it was. It literally just looks like an afterthought. It looks like someone in Ferrari was like, yes, we have completed our beautiful piece of Italian machinery. And then someone went, God damn it, you know what we forgot? We forgot a door handle. Shit. And then they had to just like stick it on there. That's exactly what it looks like. It looks like a beautiful prancing horse. It looks great. And then all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute. That's odd. That doesn't look like it's supposed to be there. It looks like they just kind of forgot and was like, oh damn, we need one of those. Let's put a door handle on it.
Okay. I don't understand why I understand why we have door handles, but I don't understand, and I know in the future as we go into this EV route, they're going to become either flush or go away from the exterior and become flush buttons, flush touchpads kind of thing, and you won't have a protrusion coming out the door anymore. And that's just for aerodynamic purposes.
Yep.
Because either in an EV,
there it is.
Okay, yeah, they are very odd looking. Either you add or you remove weight from the car to get better range, you improve the battery, or you improve the aerodynamics. Like, those are your three options. Removing door handles or making them flush is a very easy option to do.
You would think.
It's not necessary. And you'll see that most new EVs will not have door handles anymore. They also want to get rid of mirrors.
Don't like that.
I didn't think you would like that.
I don't like that. Not one bit. Nope. Don't like that.
I don't see that going away anytime soon. I see door handles going away very soon. Mirrors are more of a you can solve it with tech kind of problem, but it's one that's going to take some time. With enough cameras, you could sort out not having mirrors. Not having mirrors, from what I heard, will bump up your range by like 15% or something. Like, it's a decent chunk.
It would make it a lot more aerodynamic, sure.
Yeah. You don't have these protrusions sticking out the side of the car anymore. So you could essentially turn it into more of a bullet shape instead of a car shape with mirrors on the side.
Yeah, but I still want a door handle.
Do you?
I do. Even if it's something that I have to like push in to then pop out, that's fine. I don't want it to go away completely. Like how the Teslas have the little latch where you push in and then you get the... That's okay. That's fine. But I don't want to completely remove them.
I believe that the Mustang Mach-E has like a little tab that you kind of put your finger in there, and it has a physical button that you press, and that electronically opens the door and pops the door for you. It's a bit different than the Tesla, but I can see more people going down that route.
That sounds like the TVRs that were across the pond many years ago. You couldn't understand how to open the door or close the door. So you're like, what do I do? How do I get in?
Oh, yeah.
That sounds like how I would approach the Mach-E. I would just look at it like, screw it. I'm not driving it. I'm done.
Oh, the first time I got up to a Tesla door, I was like, what do I do? I don't know. And you just start playing with things. You start pushing and pulling and prodding. And eventually you figure out that you got to kind of lever this thing out to open the door. But everybody has that moment.
Fair. Yeah. So I can get where you're coming from with the door handles. But just don't get rid of them completely, please. It's not completely.
Okay. In EVs...
Make them flush. That's fine.
In EVs, I wish they don't have door handles. Or make them flush, like you're saying.
So, that's fair. I guess that's kind of it then. Do you have anything else today for our episode 34, Derek?
I do not.
All right, so then that'll wrap us up for today. Thank you all so much for listening. Please make sure you subscribe to our new YouTube channel at We Are Auto on YouTube. We're also on Facebook at We Are Auto, Instagram at We Are Auto _, TikTok at We Are Auto. Also, if you could send us your I wish they would haves or any car news articles that you see that you want us to chat about and cover, love to talk about them on air. Also, while you're at it, please leave us a 5-star rating and drop a comment or a review on our Apple Podcasts or whichever podcasting medium you listen to. Again, thank you all so much for listening, and we'll catch you guys on the next episode.
Peace.